Good morning and welcome to day 20 of our Bible Books Challenge. And well, it's a fantastic day today because it's our first in the New Testament. I don't know whether you've been with me right from the very beginning. I hope you have from day one. We've done the whole of the Old Testament, all 39 books up to now, but maybe you're joining me for the first time. Whether you've been with me for a while or whether this is the first time you've dipped into the Bible Books Challenge, let me explain a little of what we're trying to do as we share these pictures with you. Very simply, in the style of Catchphrase, that well-known TV programme, or some of you might even know the old board game called Dingbats, we've got a series of pictures that will give us clues to a particular book in the Bible. We've done 39 books in the Old Testament, and today we're looking at the first 2 in the New Testament. And very much in the style of say what you see, you get the chance to try and work out which book of the New Testament the picture represents. But one of the things I've been trying to do as well is encourage you to spend some time in those books as you identify which ones they are. As we've been isolating over the last 4 or 5 weeks, one of the things that I hope that you've found is you've got a little bit more time to be able to do some of those things that often the busyness of life squeezes out. And I hope that you have found some time to look into those books and to see what God wants us to learn from them, and to spend a little bit more time to find the themes that are coming through and the important things that God wants to help us to understand. And I hope you've managed to do that. It is exciting today, for me certainly, because we're into the New Testament now, and there are 27 books in the New Testament. So we're starting a new idea as we're looking at these pictures in the New Testament. And here's a picture with some key words just to highlight for us as we move into the New Testament books. But let me warn you, just a brief warning, my wife thinks that the pictures in the New Testament are harder than the Old Testament ones. So be warned, the challenge is an even greater one should you want to take it up. And have you remembered as well that as it's day 20, that it's Friday? When we get to Friday, I always give you a bonus picture. So although I'm doing 2 a day for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday, I give you an extra one for Friday and Saturday and Sunday, as we're not on again until Monday after today. So you will get 3 pictures today. So anyway, let's get started. Our first picture that you saw yesterday that I gave you is picture number 40, but it's the first one in the New Testament. Well, say what you see. What can you see? Well, you can see a man who is brewing. Now he's got milk going onto meat. This book is in fact the book of Hebrews, because this man, he brews a rather strange drink in this picture. It's a book called Hebrews, which comes towards the end of the New Testament, and it's all about growing up as a Christian, changing from our diet of milk to meat. It's a good picture for us. Now this letter was written to Hebrew or Jewish believers who had been scattered. They'd been scattered around because they were being persecuted. That word means they were treated badly. They were being treated badly because of what they believed, because of their faith. And they're being urged, as they've been scattered, to move on from basic teaching, like babies drinking milk, because that's all they can cope with as they are very young, to actually mature like adults to eating meat. And that's what the writer wants us to do in Hebrews, and he's explaining and helping them to see the importance of moving on in your understanding and teaching. Now the writer tells them, and us too, that Jesus is better than anything or anyone else. And he also gives a long list in the book of faithful ancestors from the Old Testament to hopefully inspire us to have faith too. So that's our first picture. The second picture, so the second book in the New Testament, again, say what you see. What have we got? Well, we've got an apple core who's dressed like, well, what's he dressed like? He's dressed like an Indian, and he seems to be disciplining somebody else. So it's one core Indian. Now you might know already that one of the things, as I've said, say what you see, the picture is helping us to get a name that perhaps sounds like one that's in the Bible without being absolutely spot on. But I'm hoping that this picture, as you look at it, that it will remind you that we've got one core Indian. So it's the first letter to the Corinthians. 1 Corinthians. Paul has a lot to say in this letter about the need for godly, saintly discipline, as you can see. This church in Corinth, which is in southern Greece, well, they were not acting as Christians should. Corinth, the city, was, well, it was a really corrupt part of the world. That means it was their behaviour was really bad. And at that time, and Paul needed to write to them and remind the new Christians whose lives had changed that they need to throw away and get rid of their old sinful habits, the bad things they used to do. That needed to change. They needed to break out of the habits they had before. So he's telling them off, and he gives them loads of advice. And just like we often need today, it's advice that we can take too. So that's the 2 books for yesterday. So Hebrews and 1 Corinthians. Now a reminder, it is Friday, so you get the bonus picture today. So I've got 3 pictures for you today. Here's your first picture. Look carefully at what you've got. We've got a target, we've got an onion, we've got a thistle. So you kind of work those things out and see if you can find which book of the New Testament that represents. Now remember, if you're not familiar with all the books of the New Testament, why don't you open the contents page of your Bible so that you can see all the books listed, and as you go down you look at the picture, work it out, and look down at the names of the different books. That might help you to get to the right book for this one. Here's your second picture. A man, well, what's he doing? He's you know, you might think he's singing, but I'll give you a clue. He's actually yawning. So a man who is yawning. And then there's a dial, a barometer that is there as well. And here's your third picture, your bonus picture for the weekend. Now, I'm not sure on my screen whether the colours have come through, but those are lemons, both of them. I'm sure you know your fruits quite well anyway. Look carefully what one of them is holding as well. That might be a clue for you. So as I leave you on this particular challenge, just a reminder again that you're working out from the picture which book the picture represents in the New Testament, and hopefully, and I do pray that you get the opportunity to look into the book in a little bit more detail as well. Some of them are longer than others, so some you might need to scan a little bit more, but I hope that's really helpful for you. I have been encouraging you on a regular basis, if you want to get in contact with me with questions or comments, or to let me know how you're getting on, then my email there is at the bottom of the page. I'd love to converse with you and to reply to you and hear how you're getting on with all of these. That would be a fantastic thing to hear from you in terms of those in this time of us isolating from each other. But it just remains for me to say, have lots of fun. I hope you're having fun, not just on your own, but with others in terms of working these out. And I will see you tomorrow. No, I won't actually. I will see you on Monday. So have a really great weekend. And remember that particularly at St Mary's, we've got our streaming service on Sunday for you to come along and see as well and join in with. So have a really good weekend, and I'll see you on Monday. Take care.